Good day and welcome to my YouTube channel. Before we start for today, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Okay, so today we're going to talk about an easy way to remember the various coagulation tests. So we have two main coagulation tests. We have the prothrombin time and then we'll have the partial thromboplastin time. With the prothrombin time, it is used to evaluate. Okay, before that we have intrinsic coagulation factors, and then we'll have extrinsic coagulation factors, and then we'll have common coagulation factors. With the intrinsic coagulation factors, we have 4 of them. These are, we have coagulation factor 8, coagulation factor 9, factor 11, and then factor 12. So to test for these intrinsic coagulation factors, we use what we call the partial thromboplastin time to test for them. And then remember, we said we also have common coagulation factors. It means that these common coagulation factors, which are coagulation factor 1, factor 2, factor 5, and then factor 10, they take part in both the intrinsic and then the extrinsic pathway. So the partial thromboplastin time, it evaluates the common factors plus the intrinsic coagulation factors. But the most important ones here are the intrinsic coagulation factors. So let's take note of this PAR from the word partial thromboplastin. So PAR from that. Let's write that down. And then we'll come to have the word intrinsic. So let's take the letter I from intrinsic. So for now we'll have PAR and then we'll also have I. So let's also also know that this partial thromboplastin time, it is used to, that is in patients who are taking heparin. The partial thromboplastin time, it can be used to follow those patients to evaluate anticoagulation in those patients. So also have the letter H from the word heparin. So combining these initials we have so far, we have HIPAR, HIPAR. So we have the H stands for what? Heparin, the I for intrinsic, the PAR for partial thromboplastin time. So whenever you are asked which test is used to evaluate the intrinsic factors, just recall this acronym HIPAR. Heparin, intrinsic, partial thromboplastin time. It tells you that the partial thromboplastin time, it is used to evaluate the intrinsic factors and then used to follow patients who are taking heparin. So now we're done with the partial thromboplastin time. Let's come to look at the prothrombin time, which is also used to evaluate the extrinsic factors, including it's used to evaluate the extrinsic factors plus the common coagulation factors. And these common coagulation factors, we have coagulation factor 1, factor 2, factor 5, and then factor 10. And then we have only one extrinsic factor, which is factor 7. So also take note here that it is the factor 7 which is the most important here. So this thromboplastin time, it is also used to follow patients who are taking Warfarin. So let's take the letter W from the word Warfarin. So let's come to also have, is used to evaluate extrinsic factors. Let's take down the letter E from what? Extrinsic. So we have WE. So now prothrombin time, we'll have these letters PRO from prothrombin. So we'll come to have, combining the three, we'll have WEPro, WEPro, WEPro. So when you also ask which test is used to evaluate the extrinsic factors, then you should have this at the back of your mind, which is WEPro. The W stands for what? Warfarin. E for extrinsic, PRO, prothrombin time. So when you have these two, HIPAA and then WEPro, anytime you're asked about the various coagulation tests, you should be able to tell which is used to test for extrinsic, which is used to test for what intrinsic, and then which is used to follow patients who are on what warfarin and those patients who are on what heparin. I hope this was beneficial to you. If it was, then kindly share the video to benefit others as well, and do not forget to subscribe. Thank you and have a good time.